Okay. Okay, I'm ready now. Well, let me introduce myself. My name is Ignacio Roda. Some of you might know you already. I'm one of the founders of Mobincube, and I'm responsible for all marketing and evangelization issues and things like that. Okay, so in this webinar, I'm going to explain how you can make money with Mobincube. Okay. Because, well, I guess you see in a lot of websites that they say that you can make money online and things like that. And sometimes I think they sound like crap or like this is only a joke. But with Mobincube, it's real that you can make money. Okay, we are not telling you that you are going to be rich. We are only offering a way to make money from home. Okay, but of course, in case you want to make good money, you have to keep working, and working. Okay, it's about making apps, more apps and more apps. Okay, the more apps you make with Mobincube, the more money you can make. Okay, so well, this webinar is going to be a bit different to the previous webinars because normally I share my screen and start doing things with Mobincube. This is going to be more like a talking webinar. Okay, I will explain some tips. Sometimes I will go to Mobincube or some slides with a PowerPoint presentation, but I'm going to give some tips, okay, in this webinar so that you can improve the performance of your apps. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, I guess you see my screen now. So, well, I was telling you that with Mobincube you can make money. This is real. I can give you some success in case studies that some people has earned a lot of money. We had, for example, one kid. He was like 13 years old, and he made like $20,000 in 2 months. And now we are having 2 users that are making, I think, a bit more, like $25,000 per month. Okay, but of course they are only like special cases. I mean, not all the users are making that money, but there are users that can make like $1,000 per month. Some of them are making like 2,000. And of course, there are a lot of users that maybe they are only making like 200 per month or things like that. Okay, it depends on you, on how many apps you create, or sometimes you have to have a bit of luck. Okay, so it depends on your app, because some people create an app and maybe with their first app, maybe they get a lot of success and they get a lot of downloads and they make a lot of money. Okay, but in most of the cases, users start creating an app, and maybe the first app is not really successful, so they keep trying and they make another app and then another app and then another app, and maybe someday one of their apps starts making out of money. Okay, for example, the people that created Angry Birds, I think they created like 50 different games before Angry Birds, and none of them was successful. Okay, so it's about being persistent and keep trying. Okay, and of course, if you create like, for example, 30 apps, and maybe some of them will make like $5 per month, some others will make $10, and some others will make 20. And maybe if you are lucky, you get one of them that is making 200. So in total, it's the important thing. I mean, how much money you can do with all of them. I mean, the more sugar you put, the more sweet it will be. Okay. So that's something really important about you have to think on the performance of your app. I mean, maybe you create an app and it makes like $5 per month. okay, and it took like maybe 2 hours to create that app, for example. Okay, maybe you think that 2 hours and then only making $5 is not too much, but you have to keep in mind that once you publish your app in Google Play, for example, that app can start making downloads, for example, during the next 2 years. So imagine that it will keep doing this revenue for 2 years. That's 24 months. Okay, so if you get 5 times 25, 24 times $5, then it's like $120. So $120, and it only took like 1 hour. And then for some people that's quite profitable. Okay, and maybe you are lucky. Maybe if you create an app that makes like $100 per month, and it took like 2 hours or even 5 hours, for example. So it took 5 hours, and then it makes like $100 during 24 months. So that's also quite profitable for a lot of people. Okay, so you have to think in the monthly revenue for one app, and think that it can be like 24 months or even 36. I mean, nobody knows when the app industry will go down. So we really have experience with that. For example, I published some apps like 3 years ago, and they are still making the same amount of money every month. And I've been like 2 years that I didn't updated that app anymore. So I just left in the Google Play App Store, and it keeps making money every month. So the more apps you add to your portfolio, the more revenue you will have every month. Okay. So imagine that you reach, for example, $1,000 per month, then you can go on holidays for 2 months, and your apps will work for you. Okay, they will keep making $1,000 per month, for example. Okay, so it's really important that you think in a long term revenue. Okay, so another thing that is important regarding profitability of your app is the active users versus downloads. Okay, for example, you can create one app that maybe if you are successful, you can get, for example, like 1,000 downloads per day. Okay, so with 1,000, it can be like maybe $15 or $20 per day for your app. So it's quite good that amount. It's possible to create one app with 1,000 downloads. We have some users that created apps that are making like 10,000 or 20,000 downloads. So, but with 1,000, it's a really good number. Okay. So imagine that you have one app that makes 1,000 downloads per day. And then you have one other app that only makes like 50 downloads per day. But this second app has more, I mean, the people that downloads this second app, it can be, for example, an app for reading news. So people that downloads that app will open the app every day, for example. Okay. And for the first app, the one with 1,000 downloads, maybe they only open your app once, and they remove the app from their phone. So with the first app, maybe you are making like 1,000 or 2,000 ad impressions per day. So it's not bad. I mean, it's quite good. But with the second app, only with 50 downloads per day, maybe in 3 months, maybe you get like 5,000 active users every day reading the news from your app. Okay, so in 3 months, maybe you start making like 5,000 or 10,000 ad impressions per day, and with less downloads. Okay, so it's not only about downloads. Sometimes it's about active users. I mean, it really depends. I mean, you have to think of a strategy, because both options are good. Okay, but it depends. I mean, you have to decide what type of app you are going to create. Okay, so yeah, that's another thing that it's really important. It's the ad strategy. Okay, because there's people creating apps that they are maybe a bit risky. For example, let me go to Google Play. I guess you can see my screen. If you enter Mobincube here, you can see some apps created by our users. Okay, so there are some apps. For example, this one here, like install WhatsApp for tablets. This one is huge. It has more. Well, I think it has like 700,000 downloads in 3 months. Okay, this is a really successful app, but this app is a bit risky because, well, they are using the name of another app, so I guess Google Play will cancel this app someday. Okay, so the user that created this app is taking a lot of risk. Okay, because, well, he's making a lot of money every day and every month. I mean, he's one of our richest users, but I guess next month or maybe next week or maybe tomorrow, Google Play will cancel this app because he's like not fitting the rules of Google Play. Okay, so, well, this is one strategy that some people is using, like creating illegal apps and trying to make money in some weeks. Okay, but there's some other people that are creating a more stable strategy. Okay, for example, we have this user called Juan Beltran. Okay, this user has like 60 or 70 apps created with Mobincube. Okay, so none of them is risky. I mean, he's only creating like educational apps, or for example, this one here. Okay, they are quite simple, but the thing is that he's making, well, he doesn't have a really successful app, but he has a lot of apps, and all of them are making from 10 to 500 downloads per day. So, okay, for example, this one here, Pregnancy Week by Week, is his most successful app, and he's making like 600 downloads per day. But then he has a huge number of apps that maybe they only create like 10 or 20 downloads per day. But the thing is that he keeps making more and more apps, so his daily incomes grow every day. Okay, so some apps only make like 20 cents per day, some others make like $2, but the total amount is what counts. Okay, so this strategy is more like it's a long-term strategy. Okay, because this user will make less dollars per month than the previous one, but this user will make money for maybe 3 years, okay, or more. I mean, there's no risk that Google Play cancels the account of the user. Okay, so there are two different ad strategies. I really prefer and I really recommend the second one. I prefer a long-term strategy because it's more secure for you. Okay, and we don't like people like making illegal apps. Okay, we cannot control that, but we always recommend to be legal. Okay, so some people ask us about what kind of apps perform better. Okay, so with Mobincube or with any other technology. Well, it's really hard to tell because you can create any kind of app, but, well, we've seen that there are some types of apps that really work really good. Okay, some of them are like tutorials. For example, this WhatsApp tutorial, or there are some other tutorials that maybe explain people how to improve the memory of your phone or how to optimize your phone, things like that. Well, this kind of tutorials sometimes work quite good, also apps for cooking recipes or diets or fitness. They also work really good. And of course, apps for children work really good. Okay, they perform quite good with the ad revenue. And yeah, well, you can like try new concepts. For example, there are wallpaper apps are also working quite good. I mean, you can have your own ideas and try. It's always about trying new ideas. And if you start trying one idea and it doesn't work, then you can try another one, and then you can try another one. And in the moment that you create an app that with an idea and it works, maybe you can start working in some other apps that are using the same idea or are similar. Okay, so then you can guarantee some revenue per month. Okay, strategies. Sony is asking something. Which platform? Yeah, well, there are strategies depending on the platform. Well, now I would say that I think 95% of our downloads come from Android, because normally, well, you know that for iPhone you have to take a lot of care in the look and feel of your app and the functionality and things like that, because Apple will review all your apps, and they have like a minimum requirements for publishing an app in App Store. So some people, well, most of our users, they prefer to focus on Android, because they prefer to create three apps and publish them on Google Play instead of creating only one app for iPhone, because making an app for iPhone takes more time, because you have to be really careful with the app design and all the content and everything. So some people prefer to just focus on Android. Okay, but of course, if you have a nice app and you think that Apple would approve your app, you should always publish it on iPhone, because you can do the same number of downloads in iPhone than in Android. Okay, well, maybe not as 1 year ago. Maybe iPhone is going a bit down. I guess not in the USA. Maybe you are still using a lot of iPhones in the USA, but in for example in Europe and in some other countries, iPhone is going down. I mean, Android is taking the market. I think they have like 80% of the market share. And well, there's also a new competitor there called Windows Phone. I guess also in the US market, Windows Phone is still not really strong, and there are a lot of developers that they don't really care about Windows Phone. But Windows Phone is getting stronger, and I'm really confident to say that Windows Phone will have more devices than Apple sometime. Okay, so the good thing about Windows Phone is that there are less apps in their market. Okay, so if you publish an app in Windows Phone Marketplace, you will have less competitors. Okay, so you can get a good number of downloads. And we've seen some apps for Windows Phone that they are performing really good. So you should also publish on Windows Phone. Well, Mobincube creates apps for Windows Phone. It's supposed to create apps for Windows Phone, but we had some issues with the Windows Phone version in last November. So we had to stop compatibility with Windows Phone for several months. So we started working on a new version. And well, the good news is that it's already finished. So we are going to start sending you, all our users, and the SHAP files for publishing in Windows Phone really soon. Okay, maybe next week or in 2 weeks, you will be able to have your Mobincube app ready for Windows Phone. Okay, so this is a really great news, because of course, if you create an app and maybe you are focusing Android, and imagine that you are making like 1,000 downloads only in Google Play. So, well, the more app stores you publish your app, the more downloads you will make every day. So the more money you will make every day. So if you make like 1,000 in Google Play, then you should publish your app for Windows Phone because, well, you won't make 1,000 downloads for Windows Phone, but maybe you make like 100. So instead of having 1,000 downloads per day, you will make like 1,100. Okay, and of course, also for Android, you should also try new app stores. Okay, because it's not only about Google Play. Well, Google Play is the best one, but you can also publish your app in Amazon App Store, or you can go to Samsung App Store, or you can try Aptoide, or you can even try onemobile.com. So, well, there are some other markets that are improving every day. So you can improve your downloads if you publish your apps. Well, for Android, it's easier because it's just the same version. You just get the one APK and you can publish on Amazon, on Aptoide, on some other app stores. Okay, so the more app stores you publish your app, the more downloads you will make and the more money. Okay, so yeah, let me talk about where Mobincube places your ads, because there are some ways that you can improve the ad revenue from your app. Okay, if you use some of our new functionalities. Okay, so I guess you already know that in the free version of Mobincube, we always place banners in the app, and in the bottom of the screen we add a banner, and it's always there in the whole life cycle of your app. Okay, so this banner is always there, and we also force one full screen banner. It's called an interstitial ad. We always force this interstitial ad at the beginning of your app. Okay, so when the app starts and it loads the first screen, we always force a full screen ad, an interstitial ad. Okay, so that's all the advertisement that we place in your app. And maybe you are asking which one of them works better. So normally the full screen ad that we place on the first screen is like 3 times more performance than the banner on the bottom of the screen. Okay, so full screen ads really work. Okay, so this is what we are always forcing in your app. But like 1 month ago, we launched a new functionality in Mobincube that allows you to decide some other places in your app where you want to launch a full screen advertisement. Okay, this is really good for you because you can maybe double the revenue of your app if you start using this functionality. Well, this functionality is called interstitial. Okay, so in every place in Mobincube where you can set an action, for example, in a menu you can add a button, or you can add a timer to your screen. So there you can add an action. So if you set the action interstitial, it will launch a full screen advertisement. Okay, so I'm going to show you some examples. For example, I'm going to log in Mobincube because, one moment. Wait, sorry. Wait. Okay. Now, let me change to English. Okay, because think for a moment in the first full screen advertisement that we are forcing. Okay, imagine that you are a user and you download an app for example, for cooking recipes, and you want to learn how to cook a Spanish paella, for example. Okay, so if you open your app and you get a full screen advertisement, this full screen ad has like a close button, so you can just get rid of the ad. And then if you open your app and you see that advertisement, you will normally want to close the ad and go to the content, because what you want is to get the receipt. Okay, that's what you wanted when you started your app. So you will ignore the first advertisement. Okay, so imagine that you can let your users go to the app, learn how to cook the paella, and then when they are finished, then you launch a full screen ad. Okay, so they will be more attracted to that advertisement. Okay, they will see the ad, and since they don't want to do anything else with the app because they are finished, they are finished and learning how to cook this recipe, then they will be more open to focus on the advertisement, and maybe the click-through rate will be much higher. Okay, so you can create some apps that play some advertisements in other parts of the app. Okay, for example, in this app here, I'm going to show you how you can do that. Okay, well, I have this app. Okay, when this app starts, I get one main menu with 3 options. Okay, each one of them goes to a different screen. Okay, I have receipt 1, receipt 2, and receipt 3. Okay, so for example, I want the user to click on receipt 1, or yeah, and no, the receipt 1 is different in this example. I want to, for example, go to receipt 2. If they want to go to receipt 2, they will go to this screen and they will get receipt. Okay, so I want the app to launch a full screen ad when they press back button and they go back to the main menu. Okay, because well, Mobincube is forcing one advertisement, one full ad in the first screen of the app, but only the first time it's loaded. So if I don't do anything else, Mobincube will only show one full screen ad the first time this main menu is loaded, but not in the second one time or in the third time. Okay, so if I want my app to show a full screen ad every time the user goes back to the main menu, I just go here to the main menu screen edition, and I go to the screen properties tab, and then I select a timer. I add, for example, like 100 milliseconds. I can use 1000, it's up to you. And then I use the action interstitial. Okay, so this means that every time this screen is loaded, it will launch a full screen ad. Okay, so after the user has learned the receipt and he goes back to the main menu, one full screen will be launched. Okay, so this will improve your ad impressions and your revenue. Okay, so there are other places where you can use this interstitial strategy. For example, imagine for the receipt 1, imagine that you go to the receipt 1 and it goes to this screen. And this is the step 1 of the receipt. Then there's a next button. You click on next and it will go to the receipt 1, step 2. Okay, then you get the step 2 and then a button that says next. Then the user clicks on next. It goes to the receipt 1, step 3. Then he clicks on next. And for example, you get to this screen that says, congratulations, you finished your receipt. And then you can do the same. Add a timer here, maybe for 1 second, 1000 milliseconds, and then launch an interstitial ad. Okay, so once they are finished reading the receipt, then they will get an advertisement. Okay, so they will be more like ready to watch the advertisement. Okay, so this advertisement will work much better than the first one that we are always forcing. Okay, this is another place where you can place. And well, there are some apps, for example, well, this, let me check. One user created a different strategy. For example, I think this app here, well, it's in Spanish, but maybe you can get an idea. Well, this app always shows like a random quote for sharing in WhatsApp, for example. So it seems always to be the same screen, but the user of this app created like 10 different screens. They all look the same, so they create like a loop. So when they get to the last screen and they press the user presses on next, it goes to the first screen. So it's like a loop. Okay, so you can use also this kind of loops. So maybe with 5 different screens or 10 different screens, and then go to the first always. And maybe you can show an interstitial in the first screen. So the final user will get like random quotes, but every 10 quotes he will get a full screen ad. So this is another strategy where you can use interstitial ads. And finally, there's another one. Well, there are more of them. I mean, it's up to you. You can decide where to place your full screen ads. But another strategy for adding interstitial, it might be the exit confirmation. Okay, imagine that in your main menu you create a button, or maybe in a bar you create an exit button. Okay, instead of using the action exit, then you can use the go to screen action and go to a confirmation screen. So you can go to this screen and, oh, I'm sorry, this is in Spanish, that you can, like, for example, tell the user, are you sure you want to exit this app? And then add 2 buttons. Yes, this has the exit action, and no, which has the back action. Okay, so in this screen here, you can also launch an interstitial. So every time the user wants to close the app, you can guide the user to this screen and then show an interstitial. Okay, this is another strategy. So you have to always think in new ways to use the interstitial ad, because interstitial actions can help you really good to improve your revenue. Okay. So, well, this is another way to improve your revenue. And of course, there are other ways to improve your revenue. So it's, well, of course, the more downloads you make for your app, then the more money you will make. Okay, so because, well, we have like this average metric that I think for 1,000 downloads you normally can make like maybe $10 or $9. So that's what our users are making. So the more downloads you get, the more money you will make normally. Okay, so you have to care about getting more downloads. So how can you get more downloads? So there are some strategies you can also use. For example, you can use cross promotion in your apps. Okay, imagine that you have like 10 different apps. So instead of just publishing all of your apps in an independent way, you could publish your apps, and in one of your apps you can add like a well, you can promote your other apps in your app. Okay, you can like add a screen. For example, you can add a more apps button, and this button will lead the user to a different screen where you will talk about your other apps. So if one user downloads your app and then he gets information about your other apps, then maybe if the user likes your app, then he will download your other apps. So this is the cross promotion strategy. So it's really, really useful because it can help you get more downloads. And well, there's another way that you can do some promotion of your apps from one of your apps. Okay, and I think 1 month ago or 2 weeks ago, I'm not sure, we launched the share action. Okay, for example, imagine that you go to this main screen, you can add an option and you can just share this app. Okay, we have this new action called share. Okay, and you can share, for example, well, imagine that this is the URL of your app. You can, what you want to share, I mean, you want to let your users share your app. Okay, so that your app gets a bit like viral. Okay, you can share a text like, "Hey, download this app." Okay, so when your user presses on this button, then the device will open a list of all the apps installed in the device, for example, WhatsApp or Facebook or Twitter or some other apps. So this text will be shared on these apps. Okay, so you are letting your users to share your app with their friends. Okay, so it's also a really good way to improve your downloads. And well, there are other ways to improve your revenue. And it's the push notifications. Okay, I'm not sure if you know what a push notification is. I think we like 1 month ago we had this webinar for explaining how push notification works. Okay, I think it's published in our YouTube channel. So why can push notifications help you improve your revenue? Uh, well, imagine that you have one app where maybe you have like 10,000 active users. Okay. Well, not really active, but you have like 10,000 users that still have your app installed in their device. Okay. So maybe those users have your app, but they are not opening your app really frequently. Okay, maybe they just open your app once a month, or maybe they just installed your app and they forgot they had your app in their device. Okay, so with push notifications, you can remind your users that they have your app installed. Okay, for example, imagine that you are creating like a cooking recipes app. Okay, and you are like updating the content every month or every week, or you are adding new cooking recipes every week, for example, with a remote database. Okay, and you have like 10,000 users. So imagine that every time you update your database and you add a new recipe, you send a push notifications to all your users. So, well, they will get these notifications even if they don't have your app on play in that moment. They will get a notification in the phone. So maybe you can tell them, hey, I have a new receipt in my app. Okay, so if they click on the notification, your app will be open, so you will get more ad impressions. Okay, so push notifications are also really good. Well, one of our most successful users started trying push notifications last week. Well, and it really worked. I mean, he was making like $400 per day with his apps. And the day that he launched push notifications, he made like 500. So it's really, really useful. Well, push notifications is a premium service in Mobincube. You have to pay for it. But if you have a lot of users for your app, it might be worth it if you try push notifications, because it will become revenue. Okay. So, well, another important thing for improving your revenue is the marketing material for your app. Okay, you have to take a lot of care on the icon of your app, on the name of your app, and on your app's description. Okay, when you go to Google Play, for example, well, all the apps you already know, but let me find an app in English maybe. Well, for example, this description here, that this is your responsibility when you publish the app in Google Play, for example. You have to be really careful with this text, because this text will help your app to be present when a user is looking for an app in the search bar. The search results depends on the descriptions and on the name of the apps. So if you use a long text with some keywords, and well, the more information you add in the description, the best positioning your app will get on the search engine of Google Play. Okay. And not only the description, but in case your friends add a review for your app, you should tell them to use also keywords in the review, okay? Because all the text on the reviews from the users also affect to the search engine results, okay? So it's really important. So this will help you also to have more downloads. And of course, if you add some nice screenshots, or you can also add videos. Some people say that videos really work good. You can publish a video of your app in the Google Play App Store. Okay, and of course, if you create screenshots of your app, maybe you can with Photoshop or Pixlr or any other drawing tool. You should like remove advertisements. For example, in this app that you see on my screen, the the developer of this app created screenshots, and he took screenshots with the ad banner. You should go to Photoshop maybe and like draw a white box over the banner. So because sometimes when people see that the screenshot has advertisement, they get like, I don't want this app because it's going to be full of advertisement. Okay, so don't show the advertisements in your screenshots. Okay, this might help. And of course, as I told you before, if you want to get more downloads, you have to take care of publishing your app in as many app markets as you want. Okay, I'm going to write some markets. For example, you have Apple, you have Amazon, you have Samsung apps, and you have one mobile. Well, there are some others, but I think these 4 markets are not really bad. Well, you have also Opera, but I never tried this one, so I'm not sure if it makes good downloads. Okay, but the more markets you launch your app, the more downloads you can make. Okay. Okay, so well, these are the ways you can improve your revenue, and I might also explain how AdMob works. Let me open a presentation. I think I have it here. Because some users are also always asking us how AdMob works and how they get money with the advertisement. Okay. Well, I guess you already know that we are using AdMob as our ad network. Okay. Well, AdMob belongs to Google. It's an ad network from Google. They bought AdMob like 3 years ago, I guess. So, well, some people, well, we always say in our website that we are revenue sharing like 70-30. Okay. Well, this is not exact. I mean, we are not really doing a revenue share. What we are doing is a ad spaces share, okay, or an impression share, because it's the only way we have to, in order to be able to share revenue with you. Okay, so this is how it works. When you publish an app in Mobincube, then you take the APK of your app and publish then your app in Google Play, for example. Okay, so once your app is published, then you need to go to AdMob and add your app to your AdMob account. Okay, you have to tell AdMob that you are the owner of that app and you want to get an ad code. Okay, so then you go to Mobincube and you give us this ad code. Okay, and at the same time we do the same. I mean, we take your app. We also have an AdMob account. we go to our AdMob account, and then we also set up your app in our AdMob account, so we get a different ad code. Okay, so we have your code and we have our code, so we put both codes inside your app. Okay, so what happens? The app has two codes, and what happens when your app is open? Okay, so the app starts, and then there's like a lottery. So 70% of the times when the app needs an ad from AdMob, with 70% of the times we take your ad code. So we do a request to AdMob with your code. Okay, and 30% of the times that the app needs an advertisement, 30% of the times the app uses our code. Okay, so this is normally this is a 70-30 revenue share. Okay, but well, it's more like an impression share. Okay, so if you only have like 10 impressions, then the revenue might be different. Sometimes you will make like 90% of the revenue, and sometimes you maybe make like 60. But it's more like when you start having more and more impressions, maybe 1,000 or maybe 10,000, then it gets well, it tends to be like a 70-30. Okay. And for getting paid, some people is also asking how they get paid by AdMob and how long does it take to get the money from AdMob. Okay, so since you have your own account and we have our own account, well, we are not getting all the money and then paying you. Okay, so you have your account, so all the clicks on the ads that were shown with your ad code, all those clicks go to your AdMob account, and all the clicks produced in our ad impressions go to our account. Okay, so you get like 70% of the clicks more or less in your account. So you get your own reports, and what you see in your AdMob account is already the 70% of the revenue. Okay, so AdMob will pay you for that amount, and then AdMob will pay us for our 30%. Okay, so in that way, you only need to sign a contract with AdMob and not with us. Okay, and how long does it take? Well, AdMob pays 45 days before the end of the month. Okay, for example, if we are in January, for example, and you make like $1,000 in January, well, they will collect all the money after January is over. So the 1st of February, they will know that you made like $1,000. Okay, so they will start the process of validating all the clicks and things like that. So 45 days after the 1st of February, they will send you the money. Okay, so all the revenue created in January will be sent to you more or less in the 15th of March. Okay, so it's like 45 days after. And I think there's a minimum amount of money that you have to reach in order to get the money from AdMob. I think it's like $100. So you won't receive any money from Google until you collect like $100. Okay, and then after that, then you will be paid every month. So that's it with AdMob. And well, and also there's some information. If you want to improve your revenue, you should also get used to these numbers. Okay, you have to know what a request, an impression, fill rate, or clicks are. Okay, because there are some names that maybe they are a bit weird for some people. So you should understand what these numbers are, because they can help you understand how your apps are performing. So if you have like 10 different apps and you see that they are performing different, then you can maybe decide what apps you are going to promote or what apps you are going to keep working on those apps. Okay, So let me give you a short overview. So requests is the number of times that your app needed an advertisement. Okay, so it's the number of times that your app connected with AdMob in order to request an ad. And impressions, this is the number of times that AdMob answered with an advertisement. Because, well, sometimes that when you request an ad, maybe they don't have like a advertiser, so you don't get any ad. Okay, and the fill rate is the successful rate. Okay, so for example, in this time, 99% of the times that my app requested an ad, and I got a banner. Okay, so well, AdMob is normally like 99% of fill rate. Okay, so AdMob is quite good for that. And well, clicks is the number of times that people clicked on my ads. Okay, so in AdMob you get paid every time a user clicks on an ad. So this is the number of times they clicked on my app. Okay, so impression CTR. Well, CTR stands for click-through rate. Okay, so this is the rate that tells me how many users. I mean, for example, if I get like 11% of CTR, it means that for every 100 impressions, 11 people clicked on my ad. Okay, so this is quite a good number, 11%. Okay, so maybe you have some apps that maybe they have like 11%, and you have some other apps that maybe have like 2% of click-through rate. Okay, so this is really helpful to let you decide which app is using a better ad placement strategy. Okay, so you can learn why one of your apps is making 11%. Okay, so and then what are you doing different in this app? So you can learn from that, and maybe you can start doing the same ad strategy in other apps in order to improve this click-through rate. Okay, and then you have the RPM, and not sure about the meaning of the letters, but it's like the request performance per. I think it's like a Spanish or something like that. Like a, well, in Spanish has sense because it's like their performance per 1,000. Okay, this means that, well, you have the request and impressions is almost the same, but this means the amount of money you are making on average for 1,000 impressions. Okay, so in this case, it means that per 1,000 impressions, I'm making like $16. Okay, this is also a really good number. Okay, normally you make like $5 to $10 per 1,000 impressions. So if you get a bit more, this means that your app is performing really good. So you could use the same ad strategy in other apps. Okay, so this is really important in order for you to analyze how your apps are performing and what you are doing right or what you are doing wrong. Okay, so you should always take a lot of time to analyze, because you can learn useful things. Okay, and well, sometimes you get a really high click-through rate, and but some users improve the click-through rate doing bad ad policies. Okay, doing cheating AdMob. Well, this is not really a good idea, because well, not all the users, but most of the users that start monetizing apps, and if they are not used to online advertisement, they want to be like, well, they think they are clever because they start like adding small buttons just next to the ad banner. So they want people to click on the banner per error. Okay, so imagine that you add like a really small button, like a back button, just next to the ad banner. So when people will try to click on your button, well, since it will be really small, sometimes they will click on the ad per error. Okay, so this is really a bad decision. Okay, if you start doing that, then Google will might see your app, and they will decide that you are a cheater, and that you are like cheating, and you are trying to get forced clicks. I mean, you are clicks by error. Okay, and they really want to avoid that. So if they see that you start doing that, they might cancel your AdMob account, and you will lose all the revenue that you are still pending to receive. Okay, so please use take a look to the AdMob policies and be really careful with the AdMob policies, because they are really strict with people not fitting their rules. Okay, so you shouldn't cheat with this kind of strategies. It's preferred to be legal and get like a long-term strategy. Okay. Also, you shouldn't click on your own ads. Okay, because there are some users that they think that if they create an app and they click every day on the advertisement, then they will make more money. Okay. Google can also detect that. Okay, they check. Well, they get the clicks, so they also know where the click is coming from. So if they detect that they are getting a lot of clicks from one device, then they will consider that you are also cheating them, so they will also cancel your account. Okay, so, and you cannot really improve your revenue doing that. I mean, if you click on your ad every day and you get like 3 clicks from you every day, this is not really a great amount of money. I mean, if you want to make money, you have to take care of about getting more and more downloads. If you get 1,000 downloads and you get maybe 500 clicks per day, well, this is much bigger than the clicks you can make. So please don't cheat Google. Wait, okay, let me read your question. Do you know how among the domains what are displayed? Well, yes. Well, or if you create an app with Mobincube and then you download it, you will see that we activate for example, the location services. I mean, Mobincube apps use the GPS from your device. Even if you are not using a map or a Google map, we are always activating the GPS. Okay, some users sometimes complain about that. Why are we activating the GPS since we are not using maps? Well, the GPS permission. Okay, this is because the AdMob technology needs to know the location of the user so that they can send ads that fit the country or the locality of that user. And also, they can also and use the appropriate kind of advertisement, because, well, AdMob and Google Play are connected. So when you set up your app in AdMob, you enter the name of your app, and, well, AdMob gets the information from Google Play for your app. Okay, so if you create a good description of your app, I guess they get that information, and they when they need an advertisement for your app, since they know the description of that app, they can use some keywords, so they will start launching some advertisements that are more similar to the content of the app. Okay, I guess they do that. And, well, also, since Google knows everything about you, they know you, they know your device. So I guess they also send some device information, and they know that it's you. So maybe they also send ads related to your last Google search engine things. Okay, so they always try to give the best advertisement to the user, so that the click through rate improves. Okay, and well, what else? So regarding the AdMob policies, it's also really important not to use AdMob to monetize apps that are using adult content or gambling content. Okay, because this is they really want to avoid that. Okay, so for example, last week one user launched one app with gambling content, and well, the app was removed from Google Play just like 5 hours after he published the app. Okay, so it's really important not to use this kind of apps and not using AdMob in this type of ads of apps, because you can get your AdMob account cancelled if you use ads in this kind of apps. Okay. Uh, well, and finally, and I wanted to tell you a new way of, okay, at this time of the webinar, I have explained you how to improve your ad impressions, your downloads, your money, and everything. Okay, so imagine that now you know everything in order to improve your impressions. Okay, can you still improve your revenue with the same number of impressions? And the answer is yes. Okay, there's a way you can still improve your ad performance. Okay, so I'm going to explain how to do that. Well, AdMob launched a new network like 2 months ago, I think, or 3 months ago. It's still in beta stage, but you can already use it. Okay, so it's called the AdMob eCPM floor beta or something like that. Okay, if you go to your AdMob account and you go to the monetize tab, you click here on all apps. For example, this one here. Okay, here you have all the ad units for your app. Well, normally you only have one. And here on the right, you see a mediation column. Okay, normally you have only one ad source here. Okay, well, let me check one moment. I can do all the process for you. For example, I have, let me look for an app. For example, this app here. If I go to AdMob, I want to monetize this app. This is a new app. Okay, so I click here on monetize new app. I enter the name of the app or the Android package name. I click on search and AdMob finds my app. I click here. So I normally use this name. One banner. I enter this name, for example. Okay, so I get my ad code. This is the code you have to enter in Mobincube. Okay, so if this is a new app, I see here in the mediation column, I see that I have one ad source. Okay, because it means that this app is using the default AdMob ad network. Okay, I can go to here to edit mediation, and I see this information now. I have the AdMob network by default. So I want to add a second network. Okay, I click here on new ad network, and here I get a list of some third-party ad networks that I can use. Okay, because you can use your AdMob account in order to mediate with other different ad networks. Okay, for example, imagine that you are publishing one app for one country, and maybe in that country AdMob is not really good. For example, imagine that you don't have AdMob in China and you are having a lot of downloads in China. Okay, maybe there's another ad network that has good performance in China. So maybe you can create an account in that ad network. You can get an ad code and you can use the network here. Okay, so and you can select that network for that country. Okay, but well, that's not what we are doing now. You see here the third one. It says AdMob eCPM Floor Beta. Okay, so you just have to select it. No additional information needed, and you just click on continue. Okay, now you see that you have two networks here. Okay, so for the eCPM floor beta, you can add a minimum eCPM that you want for this network. Okay, so imagine that you enter here 15. Okay, so you are telling AdMob that you want to use this account. If you click on save, it, well, this is the first network that will be used. Okay, the one with the largest CPM. Okay, so you are telling AdMob that when your app needs an ad, it should always use the AdMob eCPM floor beta network. Okay, with a minimum CPM of 15. Okay, so what you are telling AdMob is that you want to use this network only if there are some advertisements available that can produce a CPM or a RPM of $15. So you are telling AdMob to only provide good advertisements. Okay. So well, in case you enter a high number, maybe they won't have enough advertisers, so you won't get an impression. So it will go to the second network, the default network. Okay. So you always have to check what number to put here. Maybe 10, maybe 15, maybe 5. Well, you can do some try, well, some sorry. You should try. I mean, you can start with 15, and if you see that your revenue starts growing, maybe you can increase the number. Or if you see that the revenue is going down, maybe you can reduce the minimum eCPM. Okay, so this is really useful. For example, imagine that you are having like $10 per day with one app. Okay, and you cannot do anything else in order to improve the number of downloads because you have done everything. You have added interstitial ads, you have added push notifications and everything. Okay, and you are making like $10 per day. So the only way you have to improve your revenue is doing this, the AdMob eCPM floor beta. Because maybe if you optimize your AdMob network, you can go from maybe from $10 per day to 12 or 13. So it's really helpful, okay? Because it's not the same like making $2,000 per month that making $2,500 per month. Only optimizing your ad network, okay? So well, basically, I think this is all I wanted to tell you about making money with Mobincube. Um, yeah, well, I guess with all the information I told you today, I guess you can start improving your ad performance. Okay, so again, I would like to insist that well, you can really make money with Mobincube, but you have to keep working. I mean, you have to create more apps. Okay, it's really profitable because you can in Mobincube you can create apps maybe in 13 minutes, in 30 minutes, or well maybe 2, 3, or even 10 hours, depending on the content of your app. But it can be really profitable. I mean, if you want to be rich, you have to work hard, but you can work, I mean, like 2 hours per day, maybe at night or after work, and you'll see if you start working 1 hour per day or 2 hours per day, or maybe on your weekends, and you start creating more and more apps. Maybe the first month or the second month, you won't get enough money, But you'll see that after some months creating more and more apps, your revenue will really grow. You'll see. And well, and that's it. I mean, that's all I wanted to tell you in this webinar. And of course, if you want to keep making questions, I can stay here for a while and just answer your questions. Well, of course, as always, we've recorded this webinar, and we will publish this webinar next week in our YouTube channel. So in case you missed something and you want to listen to the webinar again, it will be available. Okay, so well, I want to thank you for being here, and I hope you enjoyed it. Well, there wasn't too much people because, well, normally we get less people in our English webinars. Well, I guess it's because my English is not really good. I promise I will improve it. And yeah, or maybe it's because the time. Okay, now as you know, we are now here making the webinar from Spain, and well, in 2 weeks we will open our office in San Francisco. I will move to San Francisco in 2 weeks. So next webinars, well, maybe not the next week, because in 2 weeks we will do the basic concepts webinar. It will be still from Spain, but the next specific webinar in 4 weeks will be already from San Francisco. So I guess we will do this webinar in a maybe in a more appropriate time, because I'm not sure if this is too late there in the States. Yeah. Okay, one in the morning. Oof, it's too late, I guess. So I guess the next webinar will be maybe at 6 p.m. or something like that, because well, in Spain we are also always doing two webinars, one in Spanish and one in English. The one in Spanish is for the European market. It's at 6 p.m. in Spain, for example, and we normally have like 100 people in the webinar. But we know that for the US market, we are having this time delay issue. So well, it will be solved in our next webinars. So well, again, thank you for coming. And in case you have more questions, you can contact me. Well, this is my email, ignacio@mobincube.com, or you can. This is my Twitter. So in case you have any more questions, you can anytime send me an email, and I will give you extra tips for improving your revenue or yeah, anything. Okay, so well, if you one question: do you force Mobincube buildings? Yeah, that's a good solution. I mean, well, in Mobincube we provide some functionality. I mean, I think it's quite good because you can create apps with databases or augmented reality and things like that. But of course, there are some other functionalities that you cannot use them directly with Mobincube, but you can always use a web screen, I mean, an embedded website with HTML5. Okay, so for example, you can use some tools for gaming. There are some game builders for HTML5. So well, I never tried one of them, but I guess they will work. I mean, because we have tried some collaborative tools in HTML5 and using a embedded web inside a Mobincube app, and it really works. So it should work. I mean, you can create a gaming app with Mobincube if you use a game builder. I think I will try. I will try to make a game and create an app with Mobincube. Because, well, in case you have like 10 different games, HTML5 games, maybe you can create an app with Mobincube, which it might be like a main menu to select one of these 10 games, and then it can open a web screen with a game. So it can be a good content for an app. Oh, great. You've tried already. Did you? Great. Well, if you do it and you publish your app, I will take a look and see, and if it's good, we can like promote your app in our channels. We are always looking for new types of apps, and at this moment, I think not that good. Okay, you can improve it. So, well, I think none of our users created a game before, so it's always good to have new types of apps. Well, maybe there are some websites offering free HTML5 games or with royalty free or things like that. So maybe you can use them in your Mobincube apps. Okay, so yeah, thank you for coming. So I guess you don't have any more questions, so I guess it's time for you to go to sleep. And yeah, thank you for coming, and see you on next webinars. Okay, bye.